Good evening, all. Welcome to the Winthrop Town Council meeting for Tuesday, March 24th, 2026 at 6:30. We're in the Town Council chambers and Town Council meeting in the Harvey hearing room. Call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Council Costigan.
Here.
Council Tasneri.
Here.
Council Malab.
Here.
Council Dimes.
Present.
Council Reardon.
Here.
Council Romano.
Here.
Council Finn.
Here.
Vice President Swope.
Here.
President Lettieri.
Here. Seeing a quorum, all rise for the pledge led by Councilor Finn.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, take a minute first to recognize Councilor Finn and welcome to the Winthrop Town Council.
Congratulations.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Minutes have been circulated from the March 10th, 2026 meetings. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Motion by Councilor Romano, second by Councilor Dimes. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Abstentions? One abstention. Councilor Finn?
Yep.
On to public hearings. We do have one public hearing tonight, National Grid installation of pole 22 on Pauline Street. I will open the public hearing. I believe we have Moses and Raphael from National Grid. Thank you both for being here. If you'd like to discuss the issue.
Thank you so much. I was the designer. I just asked Moses to come because now he's gonna be the Winthrop engineer. We're switching. So, but I was the one who designed. So we need a new pole and a new transformer for the new building that is being developed in 2224 Pauline Street.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only way to do it, like the cheapest, without trying like to doing like an underground system. And we will be extending 3-phase primary cable, and it's approximately like a short span, and will be in the corner on the 24 Pauline Street.
Okay. And my understanding also is there's an issue behind that building with a pole with electricity connected to a tree.
Yes.
So that will be fixed with this installation. Is that correct?
No, sir. So that was our initial proposal, but internally they decide that not to do that in this project because the way like to even that we remove the pole and we remove the tree and install a new pole, the transformer will be far to feed the building. So in that case we'll have what we call like voltage drop issues. So that's the reason that they technical and safer, because even though if we bring primary cable that is high voltage cable, we don't have the clearance enough between the fire station and the small alley. So that's the reason that we're proposing to install the new pole and the transformer just in front of the building.
We don't think it's a safety issue at all, and I'm all in favor of that.
Yeah.
The new pole, but we don't feel it's a safety issue at all to have wires going to a tree.
It's not, honestly, it's not our standard right now. So, however, the cable that is going over there right now is secondary cable, so it's just 120 to 40 volts. The other primary cable that we need in this case will be 4,000 volts, so it's more dangerous. But definitely, it's a request that it's something that it needs to be fixed, honestly. I'm not gonna be lying here. It's something that should be fixed, but that should be like something independently for this project.
And what's the anticipated time frame of this project?
For this one?
Yes.
So for this one, we're just waiting like the town approval, and now the time is like 6 weeks after the customer signed the service agreement.
And is it going to, and would there be any road closures or any police details needed, or what's the time frame to get something like this?
it's a good question. So usually, like now, because since I have been coming here, I understand what is like the issue that we have with the town about the double poles and everything. So we start like bringing like better designs. So in this case, all our projects, even like for a pole, even that in this case is like kind of like a main street, always has police details, always. So for a pole installation, it's not gonna be so the whole project. Probably they're not gonna be doing the whole. It's gonna take 2 days probably. So 2-3 days. They're not gonna be like doing like 3 days of 8 hours. Probably like 4 and 4. But yeah, 1 day will be for the pole. One day will be for the 3-phase cable extensions, and 1 day for the transformer.
And you're gonna, we have the fire chief here,
Yes.
Can I ask fire chief if you have any concerns, especially when it's so close to the station?
I thought one of the reasons was to get that line off that tree. Anyone that doesn't understand, our line that feeds 22 Pauline lines between the firehouse and Helco Safety. It's a live line that runs to an old oak tree, a live tree with birds and squirrels and everything, runs behind the firehouse to 22 Pauline. So every couple of years, as the tree grows, acid grade comes out, as the line gets too tight, they drive another spike lower in the tree, which drop the line. Makes no sense to me.
That's true.
As far as the work going on in front with the pole in question right now, the addition, is fine with you getting your engines in and out during construction or during?
Yes.
Okay. I wanna open it up to the council first, for, well, I'll start just right at the end. Council Costigan, did you have anything?
Yes, yes, as far as this line, it's gonna increase supply power, and it's also gonna service additional buildings in that area as well.
So this actual is gonna be just feeding the new building. Yeah, the existing building is being fed by the cable that is on the tree. So, but the new service will be like with the new pole and in the new transformer.
Thank you.
Councilor Tassinari.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you very much for this presentation. I do have a question based on what you just said.
Yes.
Is that gonna mean that the old line that's next to the oak tree is obsolete and you can remove that entirely once this new pole is in?
So, what I can recommend in this case is that anyone of like probably in this case the fire department, because even is what I understand is a private parcel but belongs to the city, they can request that. And I don't think honestly that National Grid will say no to do that. But this project is gonna be different. We're not gonna be touching that. We want to avoid
Right.
that.
But this is gonna be the new service for that
Yeah, the
same
new
address,
service, yes.
right? So that old that's an old service line, that can be eliminated or no?
Not yet, because actually that is feeding not only 22 and 24. It's feeding like almost like 4 more houses. But in that alley. Let me see if I can.
So it would take another request from. fire chief
Yes,
to
in this
replace
case,
it,
it needs to be like created like a new work request. So the thing is that we cannot like, even he's being fed from that actual, I don't know if I can show you.
Yes.
It's this one, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
No, okay.
We have
You're-
it.
okay. Excellent. Okay. Excellent. So if you see, actually, in the corner between 44 and 32 and
Yeah.
16, so that's the tree. Kind of like I draw it that way. That secondary fits 1 burial terrace, 2 burial terrace, 26 and 24, 22, 24. So that fits actually that's the way that it's feeding those 4 houses.
That's the tree it's feeding.
And so obviously to do this job is gonna be like a lot of cost. That is gonna be like a gray area that who's gonna be handling this job. So I didn't want like to put that even that 22 and 24 is being fed for that crib. That's something that National Grid needs to be solved. But I prefer to keep it like better to separate, and also for technical reasons, because even I solved that, I wouldn't solve what I thought initially, that was the voltage drop issues, because the only way in that case that I will be feeding is a transformer that is in the corner of Fremont in Pauline, the pole 579. That was my initial idea. There is a transformer over there. So it's almost like 500 feet away. So it's 122A, so probably like the building is gonna get like 10 voltage less than the standard is required. So now the reason is we're gonna be extending 3-phase from pole 577 to the new pole 577-1. And 577-1, we're gonna install the transformer and we're gonna be feeding directly to the building. But honestly, it's something that needs to be solved. So I'm agree with that. But what I think that it was not correct, even it was my primary idea, was to try to solve that in this, because probably that would be bring like more delay to the owner of the building, that he is already waiting for the power.
Councilor
Yes, I also see with the filing that he says, it says, and it also for permission to lay and maintain underground laterals, cables and wires. This is all above ground.
Yes, it's also overhead. That's like like a typical form always says that. That's like a misunderstanding. People think that might be underground, but it's only overhead.
So looking at that layout too, there's a tree there to go
Yes,
in front.
yes. So also, obviously, depending like what the town council says, probably would require like a three hearing in that case. Yeah, because it's primary and probably it needs to be like trimmed. That depends on National Grid Forestry supervisor. If he say that, because we need to keep like 10 feet of clearance of any cable from tree, in that case from primary cable. So he will decide if it's correct like to take down the tree and obviously replace according to the town ordinance.
So once this is finished, it will actually be able to support additional beyond 22, 24 if needed, right?
Yes.
Because it's gonna be,
Yes.
the transformer's gonna be able to supply much
Yes,
more.
we're planning to install 325 kVA transformer. That means it's like 75 kVA. So I think that probably that transformer is just gonna be used kind of like the half of the capacity. So we can also like feed other customers from the same transformer.
It's kind of ironic that we can't be within 10 feet of a tree when we have a service in a tree.
Yes, yes. But so the only thing probably that I can say in this case, and probably will be like Pilatus, like washing my hands. I don't know how long was that there. So I don't know. It shouldn't be that way, but I don't know how long it was done in that way. But like what I want to do and what I try to do is like now everything that is gonna be new has to be on a standard.
Vice President Schroeder?
Hi, thanks.
Thank you.
There are two trees here, right?
Yes.
You're going to replace these trees?
Yeah. So the trees should be replaced in this case. This cause is gonna be going on 22 and 24 Pauline Street owner. So yeah, he's gonna be replacing that.
But it won't be a sapling. It won't be these are both pretty mature trees, right?
Yes. Yes. So I'm not an expert in that, but I already bring time ago like the forestry. So we do similar jobs in other towns, in other cities, and whatever according is the ordinance. So I don't know what is here, like the standard. It has to be replaced like in equal diameter. I don't know how it's it, but yeah, it's gonna be done whatever you request, because National Grid doesn't want to be liable on like a legal issue in that case.
I looked at Pauline Street.
Yes.
There's a lot of double poles on Pauline Street, stuff hanging, I mean, it looks terrible. Are you planning to replace a lot of those poles on Pauling?
So the double poles is an issue that so it goes through what field? All new projects, all new poles that's gonna be, for example, replaced. Now we are designing to be replaced in the same hole. So we call that like cut and kick. So they cut the pole, remove the butt, and tie it like to the new pole, because we cannot touch other people's, like other companies' assets, third-party attachments. For example, Verizon and other companies. So we just transfer National Grid's cable and assets to a new cable. So all the new ones are gonna be done like that. I remember that time ago I promised that, and then it came Ocean Up, and they bring 5 new double poles. So sometimes on film it's not possible to do. So, but that's the reason that I'm here again, and I'm not gonna go. So that's, yeah. So saying that, any double pole that is created, to respond to your question, has to go through a system that is the engine system. So National Grid actually transferred, and it goes like to a list. So then the next one to have to transfer is like, how to say that, like, it's like
Yeah, so let me just add to what Rafa is saying. Basically, the poles, most poles you see along the streets, they are jointly owned by National Grid and Verizon.
Yes.
Now, in addition to that, there are other third-party attachees who don't own the pole, they only rent the pole. So National Grid ideally is supposed to set new poles, and Verizon is supposed to, take out, the old pole. So basically, we go there, set a new pole, transfer overhead primary, secondary, primary, anything above, 4 kV, 4,000, 160 volts and above, secondary, 120, 240, 120, 28 volts, and above the transformer. We transfer to the new pole, and then we're sending notice, exchange of notice to other third-party attachees. So they go, they do all their transfers. Verizon should ideally go there last, okay, transfer all the wires and take out the pole. So that's some kind of misconception, challenge we've been having, in the system over the years. Verizon, they don't go to do all the transfer, or other third-party attachees, and the National Grid gets blamed. So in a nutshell, those poles, they are jointly owned. So we cannot remove the pole. So what Rafa is saying, I did is, since we cannot take out the pole, we've come up with, another solution. So cut the pole at the top, at the bottom, leave the top portion, with all those wires, and then whenever the other third-party attachees, Verizon going to transfer. So I don't know, we get blamed,
Can't you two get together?
Yeah.
I mean, is it not possible that we could have a joint proposal here between the two of you, so that the whole street doesn't look like it does now, and that the poles are put in and Verizon puts their stuff in?
In an ideal situation, that should work. But I mean, these are utilities, right? Separate utilities. We can't be taking when they go out there to do the transfer. So that's just like the challenge. So I mean, the most we can do is just send the exchange of notice and leave it up to them to.
Well, this is, you're getting out of the realm of this.
Oh,
So, thank you. I think that's a good discussion for them to have. I mean, we've talked about double poles for over 10 years now, and the number seems to not be diminishing, it seems to be increasing, so we move down to Councilor Dimes.
Thank you, Town Council President. Just to continue what Councilor Swope was speaking about the trees.
yes.
Before the trees are cut down, is there gonna be an agreement, some sort of agreement with the in-kind replacement of the trees, or when will that conversation take place?
So it depends like on each city or each town. So it depends on you. Usually, some towns it also like depends on the tree guardian of the town. That depends on you. You decide that by the town.
This will be referred to a subcommittee, and at that point,
Yes,
I think that would be.
Okay.
Exactly. So probably we need like 3 hearings.
Okay, thank you, that's what I was wondering, okay, thank you. Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Councilor Randall.
I just had a question. The existing pole, 577, further up on the other side of the tree, there's a metal pole, I guess it's like an anchor.
Yes.
So are you gonna need to move that metal pole further up the street? Or is a new pole going where the metal pole is?
No, so what we're gonna, it's a good question. So it's gonna be just a new pole with an anchor on that pole, on the new pole. So we're not gonna touch the stub pole, the metal pole.
So that wouldn't move further up to
No.
take the weight of the other.
I have nothing else to add.
Councilor Erickson?
Yeah, I mean, a lot was already said, my main concern, probably besides the removal of the trees, would be that existing power line that's connected by the firehouse on that tree, and why National Grid keeps, every time the tree grows, like Chief said, putting it higher and higher. I'd like to see that solved.
So
But,
yeah, my recommendation is that in this case, someone in this, I'm just supposing that like the fire department can call and say, hey, I need this to be solved.
Yes, we're definitely gonna.
And create the work request. That they could call it like the public requirement, and definitely there's no way to say no to that.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public who would like to be heard in favor of, who would like to be heard? Mr. Senate, and then Mr.
Mark Center Precinct 2. My concern with that tree that is electrified now, for lack of a better term, is why can't we just make this three-phase pole conditional on solving that issue with the tree? It's our town, it's not right, it's not proper, it's not to code, that's for certain, okay? So we should have a requirement that they make it to code, pure and simple. It's the conditional grant of the three-phase power should be part of taking care of that old situation. Pure and simple, make it conditional.
And I think we wanna make it that we have an understanding, and again, it's a time strength also, but that's something that the subcommittee and the council will take up, but it's a good point, that needs to be addressed one way or the other, needs to be addressed, it's been there for far too long now. Mr. Dowd.
Jack Dowd, Precinct 4. I want you to go back to your respective bosses. It was hard for me to understand. I think I understood every third or fourth word that both of you spoke. So I'm not amused by that. So go back to your respective bosses and maybe we can inform the public and the town council appropriately. Thank you. And all up in this area, around the town hall, and the police station, library from George Street, is all underground. And that goes down Pauline Street quite a ways. I'm not sure where the first pole is down there, where it comes above ground. But why aren't you considering all this to be underground? It'd be more appropriate for the area. And then we won't have to worry about trees, and we won't have to worry about electrocutions or anything like that. Why isn't that being considered? I don't know if you said underground once, or someone said underground once. But why isn't there a figure for money? All the other places up here are all underground. From the church, all the way down to the firehouse, all the way up to Miss Malley's school on Winthrop Street. And so why can't this be underground also? Thank you.
Thank you,
Mr. President.
So it's a good question. So actually, like you say, sir, Pauline Street has a big part that is underground. Actually, like the fire station, if I'm not wrong, is fed by underground. However, underground is a lot of cost. In that case, we try to find like the best solution technically and economically for
I didn't understand. A lot of what?
A lot of cost.
Well, that's their cost. Thank you very much. Your cost.
This is not a back and forth, this is
Yeah,
just
well,
answering the question.
when I can't understand, I have
You're
to
not-
understand, Jeff.
You can go through, you're fine.
Okay, so yeah, so we have to find like the best solution economically and technically safe for the customer, because that was a request that the customer asked us, that obviously this will cost $50,000 more just to give them power on the ground.
Thank you. Yes.
Erin Barcelos, Precinct 5. I just want to say that thank you for coming here, and I'm understanding everything. So that's all.
Thank you.
Any other?
Just one quick, can I make one
Yeah,
more
sure.
Just so that if it would be up to the customer then, if they wanted to go underground with that, is that how the policy works for a grid?
So if, for example, so most of the cases when a customer is requesting something, so most of the cost is
It's pushed onto the customer. So
Yes.
it's the new building that says, okay, we'd like it to go underground, then you give them the quote and they say, okay, that's too much, and then you say, well, then we have to go above ground and this is the new price. Is that how
it's not that how it works, but it can work like that way.
One other way we evaluate the situation is we try to do like what we say least cost to serve. Okay.
Yeah.
There's some upfront cost they will have to bear. Let's say the underground conduit costs a lot, because we will actually require them to do like 2 4-inch conduits, encased in concrete. That civil work alone costs a lot. It's going to be a lot of burden on the customer. Besides our own construction, we need a bigger equipment, a pad-mounted transformer. That's they will have to bear as well. So we make all that determination and say, overhead, we just look at these costs to serve them. Besides, overhead constructions, they're a lot easier, to maintain, during storm situations. So those are some of the optional things we look at while we decide on what, route to follow. Yeah.
is it not? Is it
So additionally, so in this case, like Moses was saying, that they didn't have the space to put equipment to do like another ground solution. So that I just want to say that would be like a normal project, but in this case it was not possible because probably I can bring the conduit, I can bring the cable, but that doesn't mean that the underground transformer that usually we have like in the sidewalks bolts have the power to feed them.
okay?
So then we need to request a petition for a sidewalk volt transformer, and will be like $300,000.
We wouldn't know if that would even service any other customers.
That might serve other customers, obviously, in that case.
Maybe, but we wouldn't know.
We don't know,
when you would
yeah.
go to install that first.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it just very? So you said it's easier to maintain the overhead lines.
Yes, and
But
it's cheaper.
Do they go out? Do they not? Are the underground ones not more protected in storm situations?
Well, I mean, logically, yes, okay. I mean, but we, like I said, we look at other factors. One very good question you raised. It's possible to feed other customers out of that power-mounted transformer, but then we begin to require easements, and sometimes, sorry, I'm trying to be technical, so maybe just to explain this point. There's something we call the spits, where the electricians land their secondary cables. Sometimes they max that out. So at that point, it's difficult to look out of that part to feed a customer outside. But overhead transformers is a lot easier because it's all in open space. We don't have to go through any easements. We're not having any aerial trespass issue. So that's what I mean. So, and one other thing, those overhead transformers usually, in terms of capacity, they're underground as well. Okay, we build them to accommodate spare, future
use. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But the power-mounted transformer, it's a little bit tricky. Okay, sometimes they just do it, just for that customer. So, yeah, overhead.
This is just an interesting line of. I don't want to waste any more of your time tonight, but it's a when the state's looking at eliminating natural gas.
Yeah.
Because lines are leaky and natural gas is one of the top causes of greenhouse gases, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to say yes to that enthusiastically if all of our heat is dependent on electricity and we have 1,500 customers were out during that last blizzard for a day or something like that. It's like, it's hard to, that's a safety issue in cold weather and blizzards and stuff like that. So I thought that maybe underground lines would be a safer option for maintenance and maintaining power consistently, but if that's not, I don't know, this is not a good time for for that line of questioning, cause no one has that kind of time tonight. I apologize, but that's just something that I've been thinking about and why, and please.
So probably they, like you say, they're gonna be more protected. But in the case of a failure, it will be harder to restore it. That's the issue. Because a pole, you can replace it, right? But the underground, you have to spend maybe like a day just to find where is the fault. Because you don't see it. And it's more, it's more risky. Because it's a confined space, you know what is energized, what is not. So obviously they have a safety protocol, but that's the reason that is, now we will try to avoid everything in confined space.
Okay, Mr. Dadarian.
I'm the town tree warden, and I regularly work with people from National Grid about trees and wires and pruning and removing trees, and I'd be happy to do so on this project.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
I thank you for your time. This will go to a subcommittee and we will ask for you to be there, and then I'm sure we would have questions before we come back, and hopefully we can,
You might want to reschedule to a day we could so you're limited yourself, so I won't say the time.
and thank you, and this
Thank you.
happens.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, so thank you, I will close the public hearing. Public comment.
Thank you much.
Mas.
Marcy Hamilton, precinct two. Good evening, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The last one.
Oh, I'll share, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Marcy, the floor is yours.
Hi, thank you. I'd like to make a comment and note something that was said at the last meeting by the council president. Ms. Military noted that the council doesn't run the day-to-day operations of the town. That's up to the town manager and the DPW director. However, this council, as per the charter, appoints council members, appoints board members, approves budgets, and accepts and or declines recommendations by these boards. So you do, although not getting your hands dirty, hold the purse strings to this town. I think that should be noted, and the citizens should understand that this is how our form of government works. That being said, we should also note that the last meeting that the DPW needs more employees. Not sure if that's in the budget. The teachers, ESPs, and secretaries are continuing their efforts to get a contract in place. The fire station we are building has lost out on grant money that would make our new fire station run more efficiently. So this council, although not dealing in the day-to-day workings of our government, does indeed control our government on a day-to-day basis and our lives. And I will close again with a request for the money, $4.5 million, maybe more, to complete the full project at Tileston and Girdlestone. I know valiantly this is moving forward, and I do appreciate that. And I request that this council revisit the Climate Commission's phased report regarding the hotspots noted, so we can work to resolve the issues that are all over this town. The climate changes are not going away, and we must meet the issues in a proactive manner. Thank you.
I've had a long time to think since the last storm.
So again, just name and precinct.
Mark Center, precinct 2, and it's in my opinion that this town has to take Girdlestone Road, Tileston, and Pleasant Street as a separate issue to that $5 million project, because we need immediate relief. Okay? The outfall pipe that's in complete failure was there for 100 years. Physics did the job. Okay? I graduated almost 50 years ago, but I don't think physics has changed. I request that we separate those projects at $4.5 million, and we take care of the Girdlestone Road area. Girdlestone Road is in the condition it's in because of this town's neglect of this neighborhood, pure and simple. Utter neglect. Right? It was discovered more than 30 years ago that this pipe was in failure. And it's gotten nothing but worse and worse and worse. So, that being said, I think we just have to go back to the basics here. Simplify the project, take our project on its own merits. And put an outfall pipe back out there. You have an easement, use it. And if somebody built over it, they have to grant a different easement to get the project done. Put out another outfall pipe. That's what I'm requesting is you take our project, our neighborhood, because of the town's neglect, not necessarily all you, but the town's neglected this for 30 years. It's unacceptable, all right? Pure and simple. Jim, you've been on the council for 20 years. You personally knew about it, and yet 20 years later, we're still kicking that can. It's unfair. It's unfair. We need this done. You know, physics doesn't change. Put a new outfall pipe in. There's an existing easement. Separate out the project and put an outfall pipe in. Physics hasn't changed. It worked for 100 years. Put another pipe in. It'll work for another 100. That's what I'm asking. I'm asking for that project. I'm asking you to make this a priority because we can't go through it anymore, okay? I can't even take a vacation because I'm held hostage by the town and the town's inaction on this issue. I can't go away. I can't take an extended vacation for fear I might come home to 4 feet of water in my basement, like Mr. Yarrow had, okay? I've only had 8 or 10 inches, 8 or 10 inches. Imagine that, Marcy. Only 8 or 10 inches because I was pumping as much as I was. If I wasn't as proactive as I was, I'd have lost everything just like Mr. Yarrow. And it's unacceptable. Put a separate system in for us now. It won't cost that much. And you're talking about this new project with pumps and everything else. Well, didn't we learn anything in the last storm about electricity? What a mess it caused? We can't take that chance anymore. It's pure and simple. Go back to the basics. Put a pipe in, put a proper flapper valve. It'll work for another 100 years. And if you do that for us, you probably won't hear from us again.
Thank you. Mr. Depp.
I'm sure you have it. It shows up on this there. First, I want to direct the first words to Mr. Malott. Stated many times that you're going to do your own fix for town exclusion. Excluded from the mass water resource. Not the mass water resource, but the 3A. People are still waiting for that. So you gave your word that did do it. Have your own follow through with the other conflicts that ran on the premise that you were going to help with the exemption case, but then after the vote was taken, you changed your mind. So I'm just telling people that Mr. Millard's changed his mind on a few things that are very pertinent. So, I'm not trusting your word for so I'll be saying this for the next 2 years. Same thing I'm saying right now. As far as this Growstone, it was $48,000 given for a study, an engineering plan. Is that plan completed? That's a question. But if it's completed, it should be online so that everybody can understand what the cost is going to be and then where that money is going to come from. I had a conversation with Mr. Lettieri right after a previous meeting, council meeting. He said it was going to cost between $5 and $6 million. Someone else said that, and someone else said that. And so I asked him, "Where's the money coming from? $5 or $6 million?" He said, "Well, we have a fund here, and then we have another fund here, and then we'll go for an override." That were your words. Send them to me, and I'm saying it to everybody. Those were your words. I don't think anybody wants to have an override. Every time I talk to somebody, they say they
Just for
would not go
clarification,
for an
I'm not gonna
override.
let you say something that's untrue. Override, understand what you're discussing, and override is something totally different than a potential debt exclusion.
You said override.
I did not.
Yeah, that was my conversation, and I'm saying it right.
That's how you interpret
You said override, so whatever you wanna say now. There's another one that turned on us after everybody was elected.
Do you have anything
Thank
else
you.
of pertinence?
I'll save it for the next 3 minutes.
Thank you. Anybody? Okay. Correspondence, Denise.
I received none.
Committee reports. School department report. School committee met last evening. Two major topics of discussion. One was negotiations, that was mentioned earlier. There have been numerous negotiation sessions that have happened. Most of them have been public. They have been taped by WCAT. They're available through YouTube. There are proposals going back and forth. There were negotiations set up for tomorrow evening, I believe, for two of the subsets of the unions. It's an ongoing thing. I think both sides would like to settle as quickly as possible. The other topic of conversation was about grants and potential losses in grants. And for fiscal 26, which we're currently in right now, we have not received, we are told we are not eligible for 3 specific grants. And again, they might seem small in scope when you're talking of a $40+ million budget, but we all know that monies are tough and tight everywhere, and we lost on a $17,000 supplemental appropriation to an existing grant. Now this is a grant that we were eligible for before. We received the grant, and we have always received the supplemental. We did not. We were told, as we were told in the other grants, that we asked DESE, and DESE has informed us that the state has informed them that non-compliance of 3A is one of the eligibility requirements for all discretionary and competitive DESE grants. Personally have a huge issue with that, as this is just an ever-changing landscape, and said last night that I find it kind of ironic that we have a governor that's running for re-election and she's putting the safety of our children, after-school programs at risk to prove a point on 3A. We also lost out on a $9,950 21st Century Enhancement Grant for students with IEPs. We applied in March of 2026 and denied funding due to non-compliance. We also lost out on the $20,000 21st Century Summer Learning Grant. RFP is posted now, due in May. We are not eligible to apply, we were told. The grant has been received by Winthrop Public Schools the past 2 fiscal years, and that's a grant that is kind of used by high school students to get summer jobs to help with the 21st Century program. It's a learning opportunity for the high school students, and it's a huge help to the 21st Century. Also in fiscal 27, 21st Century potentially applies for a pretty substantial grant. This grant is a 3-year grant, so when you apply for it now, in April and May, you will receive or be denied that grant. That grant is a 3-year grant, so if circumstances change over the next year, you're still not eligible to reapply until the 3 years is up and you're into the next grant. That grant is approximately $140,000 a year, or about $420,000 over the 3-year period. This is a substantial blow to 21st Century. Would be potentially a substantial blow. We have made our comments clear to the state. We've also talked with our representative and state senator. I've talked to Representative Turco, who's we have worked on, and he is trying, and he believes he might be able to get a $100,000 grant, which would be a great help for fiscal 27. But again, this is again the state just continuing to add more and more and more to a policy that originally had 3 or 4 grants tied to it. So we talked about the potential loss of the $420,000. Also a $69,910 supporting students grant. For behavioral and mentally health grant, this is a continuation grant as the district was awarded this grant for fiscal 26 and would otherwise be eligible to receive based on the first award. This grant will be posted soon, and with the requirement of compliance, we have been told that we are not eligible to apply. basically they're saying for any fiscal '27 competitive or discretionary grants posted by DESI, the requirement from the state is that, and from the governor, is that the MBTA communities acts must be in compliance. These grants, both competitive and discretionary grants posted by DESI, are designed to support educational mandates required by the Department of Education. So it's not even a grant that we choose to do a project with, whether it be an infrastructure project or whatever, that's our discretion. These are grants that are supporting mandatory programs. And most of these grants are federal money that has come from the federal government, come down to the state to be distributed to the cities and towns. And the state has just taken ownership over that and choosing not to fund. So we will again be in contact with our representative and our state senator, along with the other members of the state, to see what we can do with that. So that was another update from the school department report. Update on policy-making committees. Winthrop Board of Appeals met. They had discussions circled around 190 Otis Street. The applicant seeks a permit to construct a 2.5-story single-family structure to be constructed on a lot that consists of 4,000 square feet. This is in non-compliance with respect to minimum lot size requirement. This case has been continued until the next BOA meeting. Winthrop Planning Board, 210 Winthrop Street. A&R has been acknowledged by the town clerk's office, stamped and certified. Their next meeting is
They're both next month.
April 16th for Board of Appeals.
April 16th for Board of Appeals.
I'm not sure
I'm
what
not
kind of
sure.
roads are closed.
Town manager's report. Tom has been circulated. Tony might have some comments and then we'll take some questions.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Council President. Couple things I obviously forwarded out to the council members on this afternoon, our response to the lawsuit. Certainly feel free to read it. If you have any questions on it, let me know. That was filed last Thursday, 4:44 p.m. I just drafted it, I signed it, he signed it, we submitted it, so waiting to hear back from the Attorney General's office, but that was a very good response. There's been some questions about the Christmas tree in French Square. That is coming down tomorrow. Fortunately, Director Cal thought it was down, it wasn't, and then the snow started to fly, so we couldn't get to it. So the DPW will be taking that and moving order down tomorrow. And I just want to point out, I did comment on we've got some meetings coming up with MWRA about the tall ships coming to town in July. We also wanted to kick off the council president, I'm talking, see what the council wanted to do or thought about for maybe a 250th celebration somewhere in that time frame. Obviously, with July 4th being our 250th anniversary. I know they're doing an event maybe in May at the Dean Winthrop House, and I think maybe even the Point Shirley neighborhood might be planning something, but didn't know if we wanted to kick around and do something. There was talk about maybe doing a boat parade or something similar, and on the water, let people decorate their boats and do something like that, or maybe a parade locally. I don't know, but I wanted to kick that around and see if a couple of council members wanted to volunteer their time to maybe help us out with some planning and reach out to the community and things like that, so we can get something in the works. And other than that, I'm certainly open to questions.
So we were looking at the 11th to the 16th is the tall ships, right?
Yeah, we think about during that time frame.
Right, so
Because we're gonna have a lot of resources in town, with shuttles and, yeah.
Thank you for responding to the state, and thank you for being so forceful with the response. Attorney Cipolletta and the town manager. I encourage people to take a read through this. It's about 21 pages. The town attorney brings up an incredible amount of points that he thinks that we have, in our discussions here. Through this read, I think you will read and see all the work that's been put into it and all the exemptions that we think that we are entitled to as a town. Start with Councilor Costigan if you have any questions on the town manager's report.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Just an issue we talked about before, just regarding the memorial for down at the old middle school.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's still there, if I'm correct.
Yeah, the tree in the back is all fenced off. They can't get to it. We protected it during the demolition phase.
just looking at the timeline where that will be moved.
Well, obviously before construction starts, so probably sometime we gotta work with the family and try to pick a date, but I would think, late spring, early summer, probably do something down there, replant the tree and plan a ceremony. We haven't locked in any dates yet, but that was sort of the tentative plan when we thought about it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, Councilor Tassanaro.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Manager Marino, for your report. Very helpful. I'll save my questions about Myrtle Beach for precinct 3 counselor. But I do have a question on a running tally and a running list and the impacts of all the grants that we've missed out on so far.
Yes.
Including the MVP grant that left us hanging for 2 years in a row now. I think it's like 1.2 each time. If I'm wrong.
1.2 total for 2 years, so that was a
1.2.
yeah, that was
So
a 2-year
1.2
total.
million for that.
Yep.
And then there's a whole litany now of these school supporting grants that we're losing out on, which is gonna either cost us services or require us to find budgeting elsewhere because they're required mandates.
I
like to call
will
it
add the
unfunded
school ones
mandates.
to our list, but we are keeping a running tally of grants we apply for and ones we don't get because of the 3A issue.
Yeah, that would be very helpful to include in your report, on a bi-weekly basis. I would appreciate that. And I'd just like to remind the council and anybody who's listening that it was this council who decided not to comply with Mass General Law. We are the ones breaking the law right now of our own volition to be precluded from all these grants and all this funding that supports everyone in this town, especially the most vulnerable. We decided we didn't need it. Winthrop can do it on its own, right? Winthrop can do it on its own. Are we doing it? I don't know, Town Manager Marino, you're gonna tell us in the budget season if we're doing it or if we're not doing it. Cause there's not gonna be a lot of forthcoming help from the federal government or the state government if we keep acting like little children. Obstinate little children.
Councilman Millar?
Just for clarity, it wasn't this council, right, that voted on that. But we are in the position we are in due to past votes on it.
It was this body that were Councilman Millar. You know, it's the same members, but this body.
So, I do appreciate the report you provided, or the answers to the Attorney General's lawsuit. I already started reading through it. There's a lot of questions that I've had that I've worked to try and get answers to outside of what was provided there. I am still for, pushing for exemption for our town, and some of the answers that I started reading through were directed towards that.
Yeah.
So, that is very helpful. I'm gonna take the time and read through the entire, go back and forth with what the lawsuit is versus the response. So I will be taking time to really dig into that one. The other question I've had is about the middle school. Now that I've driven by multiple times now, because it's kind of on the way home, looking at the side of the building now, has there been any structural damage or identified that potentially that will need to be fixed right away?
Structurally, the wall's fine. We need to obviously waterproof and weatherproof it, and then we'll have to decide. I'm guessing we'll do brick to match everything else, but we'll have to come up with a new brick facade, and there'll be prep work that'll have to be done, and cutting back some of the beams to make them flush, and preparing the shelf that will have to be there for the brick. But yeah, no, structurally the wall's fine. In fact, we're looking at sprucing up the gym and maybe trying to get that back in the works for us sooner rather than later. But we just gotta waterproof it for now, and then we'll decide what the finish is gonna be as we move forward with the next phase. So.
Vice President Schultz.
It's interesting that we fought so hard for an exemption. And I think that the points that you bring up, Councilor Tassanaro, are true harms that the state has wrought on us. And I do think that
we have brought on ourselves,
every
Councilor.
one
We
of
brought that
our-
on ourselves.
Councilor,
Thank you. Every one of those harms should be noted in and Attorney Cipoletta's case, because they all will help us in that regard, and in the other cases that are already going forward. And there is a stay, so that will be, for another case. So I think, who knows, this is an election time, and I'm not sure that the current governor wants to take this kind of punitive measures as the federals, as the feds have taken against the states, so we'll see how that goes. Just wanted to mention too, just as another committee, the Public Health, Safety and Public Works is going to be meeting tomorrow at 4:30 to 6, so anybody who wants to come, it's in this room. The other issue is, I know that you're working on this, Tony, the grants, not the grants, the what's happened to everything that we're working on doing in the town. You're gonna put that in an Excel spreadsheet, I think, soon.
With the grant applications?
Pardon me?
That's the council
Yeah.
clerk and the council president will work on.
Okay, you're working on it.
As far as the track record, you.
Okay, that's terrific, because I think that would be good help.
Councilor Dennis?
Thank you, Council President. Town Manager Marino, thank you for the report. I haven't been able to read the response to the state yet, but I'm looking forward to reading that. Just a quick question about the work, you're trying to work with a vendor for the plantings for the dunes, so we're gonna, so my volunteer work not needed.
It won't be needed. We actually, come to find out, we were outsourcing them from Northeast Nurseries
Oh,
locally.
yeah, okay.
And the price was a little higher, so I asked Dwight Dunk, our environmental,
yep.
if he had anybody else that we worked with in the past, and come to find out, we could not only buy them, but get them planted for
Okay.
about half of that cost.
Okay, perfect.
So,
Alright.
we used that vendor to do it, it's
Alright.
only gonna be $5,000 or less, just to
Okay.
get the whole, that 500-foot section planted at
Awesome.
18 foot on center, 18 inches on center.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Whitten?
Thank you for the report.
Councilor Dines kind of stole my thunder. I was about to ask about the vendors.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's okay. But do you have anything else to add about the Earl Beach project? Or?
No, just like with the report, we got a little more done than we thought. We got about 500 feet done. Like I said, Dwight Dunk was out last Friday. He's the gentleman that drafted the beach management plan, and we asked him to come out and check on the work that we've done so far to make sure it's in compliance with what he had spec'd out, and it is. He's happy with the work, so we're gonna just basically need to set up a neighborhood meeting. I want to locate the 5 areas where they want based on where people live, maybe people that need handicap access, closer to a stairway than not. So we want to make sure we locate those 5 areas and make sure the neighbors are happy with those spots, and then we can put the ramps in and the staircases and the moving nets in.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right.
Councilor Finn?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Manager.
Yeah.
Town Manager, thank you for the report. I had a question as it pertains to the old middle school gym.
Sure.
As I think I told you, I'm involved with Little League in the town. This past Saturday, we actually were in the gym doing what's called like tryouts and skills.
Yep.
From ages 7 to 12. And I noticed like a ton of dust kicking around and stuff like that. We were slipping. Has it been tested for like
I did not
asbestos
know you
or
were in
anything?
there. I probably would have said you couldn't go in there.
Oh, so yeah.
So yeah, good to know that was ignored. But
The school committee, which doesn't control that building, gave permission to go to the ATC school, so I don't know why.
yeah, I don't know why you guys were there. Yeah, because we're in the process of getting pricing to get that cleaned up, so you don't have that issue. Because we went in, we had to clean the building, and like I said, it's in process, but we're not ready yet to have people in there.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure who chose to. Again, I was
Good
just.
to know.
thinking
I will
how-
follow up with who I need to follow up with. Thank you.
Okay, I'm just looking out for the kids, you know.
Yeah, no, without a doubt, we didn't. I would not have authorized that because I knew we weren't ready yet.
Okay.
Yeah, we have to clean up the gym. We have to do a few other things. A couple of leaks we want to fix in the hallways. Get some scupper work done, things like that. So.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, and again, just to recognize that the grants we're talking about now were not grants that were part of this bill, and the governor's choosing to now affect kids in public safety and health departments, and the federal government is giving the money for the DESI grants, the state just isn't distributing it. Again, but at some point, we have to watch out for our citizens, and I will not let our children be taken advantage of because of this, so we have to, they have to come to the table and discuss with us, because there needs to be finality, you can't just go on like this forever and have them just take every penny we have, so. They have to be willing to discuss it too, and I think it's a shame that the governor is using this tactic, but.
Anyway, comments report, old business, there is none, new business is all. Referred, town council appropriate retained earnings in waterways harbor master enterprise fund for repair and maintenance of floats, that is referred to finance.
Yeah, Mr. Council President, if I could just point out the typo on the bottom there.
There's a typo on the bottom.
Yeah,
of
it
the
says
actual
rate, but it's
thing.
supposed to
It
say
says
waterways
from the
fund.
rank, it's supposed to be
Yeah,
right.
sorry about that, we'll make sure we fix that.
Town council vote to modify general books budget for fiscal '26, that will be referred to finance. Amendment to new ordinance 8.37.00, land disturbance and erosion control, that will be referred to rules and ordinance. National Grid installation pole 22 Pauline Street will be referred to public health and safety. Town council vote to approve video recordings on committees. This is a motion that came from Council Romano, and this is going to be also referred to rules. There are, I believe, 2 appointments that I made. One is I have appointed, town council president is appointing assistant town manager Cheryl McCormick as a representative for the town of Winthrop on the North Shore Consortium Board. This has been brought up at several meetings. Want to make sure we've got somebody on that board. And the town council president has appointed Councilor Kim Dimes to represent the town of Winthrop CASA program. CASA does a lot of incredible work for the children of this town. They have an event coming up, I believe, soon. But I encourage people to take a look at their website. They are incredible people that do great work for kids that really need the work. And we are incredibly appreciative of the work they do. So thank them and thank you for that. Public comment again. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Tim Duplin. I work on the tree committee, and I was asked to speak on the issue of the trees over the town hall in this back area, this courtyard area. And the question of who has jurisdiction to caring for those trees. It's to my understanding that if a tree is to be cut down, that there needs to be a hearing. But you know, one of the reasons why we have a tree committee and a tree warden is to make, you know, really good educated decisions on what should be cut down and what shouldn't be cut down. There's many years of experience on our tree committee, and you know, if there is, you know, rodents or whatnot getting into the building, it's certainly something that needs to be addressed. But there's a right way and a wrong way to go about it. You know, are the trees invasive? Are they at the end of their life? Are they healthy? Can we plant new trees in their places? You know, I sit here tonight and I listen to all the budgetary concerns, and I would like my piece of the pie, and which is basically to plant more trees in town, because there's a lot of benefits to it. It increases property values, it mitigates global warming. There's a lot of benefits to trees, and I'd like to see the town, look at putting more effort into their trees. We have a lot of trees that, you know, I drive by every day that I'm like, gee, you know, we need to prune these trees because they're an investment in our future. But if we could look at these trees and get together with the head of the DPW and, you know, come to, you know, a good decision on what should be done. But, you know, also going forward, we've had other issues on, you know, people telling us where they should plant trees, how we should plant trees, what species. That's what we're hired for. That's why we have a tree committee, is to care for the trees for the town, which is a huge benefit. So I'd like to work with the DPW director, and hopefully we can come to a, you know, resolution on the best way to handle that right above us in this back area. So.
And this is just public comment, but I do believe the town manager has
Yeah, there's a whole email thread and the tree warden's been involved and we're working on
Okay.
getting the trees pruned, so I'm not really sure where those comments are coming from, but I'm certainly happy to talk to
All
you
right.
offline about it.
Yeah. I might be a little unprepared tonight, and can I make one more comment about the school? I heard you talking about the school earlier. I went to an event there recently, and if you come out the front door, there's a beautiful sign on the left.
Which school, I'm sorry?
The high school, the high school.
The new high school.
The new high school, if you go up the front steps to the new high school, right on the left, there's a beautiful sign and the lights don't work anymore. And, you know, it's too bad, you know, it's a brand new school. And I figured I'd, you know, see if I could get my 2 cents to get those lights repaired. Because it really makes the school look nice if people were using tonight and going up and down the stairs. But thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you.
I'm
Marcy Hamilton again, sorry, precinct 2. Couple of things, Mr. Costigan, you talked about the LEAD being updated last meeting about the local emergency action, what is the deployment or, okay. I have talked about this several times when our, I think it was our fire chief said, our plan is to shelter in place. I would like to see that LEAD upgraded. I would like to see monies allotted to that, to have a town-wide forum on that because emergencies are coming up. Secondly, after listening to what your report was about all the grants that we have lost, and I have to applaud Max Tassinari for stepping up. You all have the ability to pass the plan the planning board made for 3A, 0 units. This is not a political issue. This is a survival issue for this town. We can take it to the courts all you want. It's a constitutional law that we must obey. And you can all sit there and say, well, no, we're exempt, we're exempt. We're not exempt. All around us, again, I've said this before, the DCR takes care of the beach, the MWRA is at the point, Massport is over here, there's entities all around that we depend on. We depend on the state to help us out. And these children deserve these grants for the next 3 years and forward. You have children, you have children, you have grandchildren. We need to support them. Politics aside, I don't care who's the governor. I know this town needs help financially and Century 21 needs money. The mental health, they need money. CASA's gonna need money. You're gonna need money for this LEAD program. What is wrong with this committee that you all ran on, no to 3A, no to 3A? Well, this is the effect of it. And it's going to really affect your school systems. It's really gonna affect our town. It's gonna affect our infrastructure. Please reconsider your votes. People won't hate you. They'll applaud you for being there for your children and their children. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dow.
Yeah, that was precinct 4.
I get so upset.
Wearing this shirt that was my grandfather's medals when he came back from Europe in 1990. He had 5 bars and 1 missing. So he was in 5 out of the 6 conflagrations in World War I. He also came back with a Purple Heart. And when we pledge allegiance to the flag, I believe, we're pledging allegiance to the people that injured, suffered in the wars, so we have the freedom to talk in a room like this. I don't appreciate people that don't stand for the pledge of allegiance. You find them few and far between. But I know my grandfather wasn't here, because I knew. I talked to one of his friends, at a funeral, and he said, your grandfather was a very brave man. And he was also a just man also. So he wouldn't say anything about people standing. But I want to stand up for the people that made our freedom worth it. And just a small gesture of standing up for the Pledge of Allegiance is not a bad thing to have. Just a small gesture. Stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. So we know you appreciate the people that earned everybody in this room the freedom to be in a room like this and speak. That's enough, thank you very much.
Mark Sen, precinct 2.
Yes.
I thought I was running out of time earlier. I wanted to address just a couple of things regarding Grosstone Road, Towson, and Pleasant Street. First of all, I really don't think the town's people have an appetite for 4.5 million. And by the time you put shovels to it, it's probably gonna be like 6 million. The original cost, way back when, was $68,000 to fix it. We wouldn't be talking about this right now. We wouldn't have had damage like I had a couple years back. If we had an actual catchment system that worked, okay, we would devastate it over there. This is why I'm asking for this project to be separated out from that grand project that they have. This is a simple fix, okay? The other thing is, you guys are in negotiations with the Pleasant Park Yacht Club. And I don't wanna see this turn into a quid pro quo over there. They have fuel tanks that are out of compliance with EPA. They need to be removed. And I don't want that to be part of that easement talk at all. We should not pay to have their infrastructure improved as a town, just for an easement. Absolutely, unequivocally, no. They have a problem, they need to address it with their money, not ours, okay? That's what's gonna turn into over there. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about, alright? If I hear any talk about tanks being removed from there because we want an easement, you're gonna get a fight from me, okay? We're not doing it. That's their responsibility, that's their EPA problem, not ours. And again, the original cost was 68 grand. How foolish were we?
Diana Viens?
Hi, Diana, precinct 2. First of all, I just want to say I applaud our council, save a few. So whoever said that, I disagree. I do feel it's very sad I have to call in to correct some remarks about 3A. I can't believe we're still on this stuff, especially the comments about children being taken advantage of, and especially when they're made by people I often joke with about these ridiculous tactics, and they are totally ridiculous. 3A has very specific grants that are associated with it. They're in the law itself, and they're listed in the regulations, and nothing falls outside of that that has been actually APA, followed. So, for example, people mentioned the 1.2 million that we were told we were ineligible for. Yes, that is a harm. That should be included in the suit, in any suit. 2, we were excluded from eligibility for a tree grant, not in the law. So that needs to be corrected. I know that the town wrote a letter. I also wrote a letter. I followed up when they ignored us at the EOEEA, and I got a bounce back from the lady who has lost her job. These people are dropping like flies. The state is out of money, which is why we've had 171 overrides in this state since 2020. And I just heard of 3 more in the last 1.5 weeks. I mean, this is just obvious stuff. Watch the news, please, dear God. I appreciate Tim Dublin being here tonight. He's really, really knowledgeable about the trees on that note. And speaking of that, please, dear God, if anyone has a problem with the trees, or if the DPW is planning on knocking or removing a tree, even if just please follow the ordinance. I run around this town a lot, and I see new stumps all the time, and I do follow the transcript, and I'm not seeing these notices in the transcript, or I would be there. And lastly, I was surprised to hear that perhaps the state is withholding money that was earmarked for us for the middle school, for the new firehouse, in the Affordable Housing Act. That's news to me. I didn't see that anywhere officially, but I think if that's the case, then the state is actually withholding our money that they promised us before we knocked the building down and made a big hole and are still apparently letting children go, play in there. Perhaps the town should have a communication about that at some point. Thank you.
Yeah, Tom Jarian, Precinct 3, and your beloved tree warden. I notice an irony. Mark and Marcy have too much water. Last summer, when it was hot, we had newly planted trees. To water them, I had to get 5-gallon buckets, fill them up at the Belle Isle Cemetery spigot, and then hoist them up into the trunk of my car. I could fit 4 of them in there, and then carry them to water the new plants, the new trees. Look, my arms have gotten longer. Look how much longer they are. Soon they'll be dragging on the ground. Can we come up with some money for a watering tank that we can put in the back of a pickup truck, fill it with 100 gallons of water, have it gravity fed? This is not a big expensive thing, although Steve might want a new truck to put it on, but we're gonna need water this summer. Most likely it's gonna be a long, hot summer. So can we find some money for a watering tank to water the trees so we don't have to change the name of the town to Dead Tree Town?
Jim, one more question. Regarding the water main breaks, obviously tens or hundreds of thousands of gallons were, for lack of a better word, just thrown down the drain. Is that gonna be reflected in our water bills as unaccounted for water? And are you gonna pass that cost on to the town for mistakes of other people? I don't think that should happen. I don't think we should be paying for that water. We did nothing to cause it. We didn't waste it. The town wasted it.
Erin Marcellus, Precinct 5. Yeah, I don't even know where to start. This has been an interesting evening. I just want to remind everybody that says that we are a welcoming town and that people can feel comfortable coming to these meetings or coming to events. I want you guys to really just think about if that's actually true or not, from what was earlier, that's all.
Public relation, upcoming events, we have our annual rabies clinic, April 11th, 2026 at Town Landing Harbor Master Building, 10 to 12. I will be holding office hours tomorrow in Town Council Chambers, 4 to 6. Commission on Disability, Staying in Your Home Presentation Center for Independent Living Center, March 25th, 1 o'clock. And Vice President Swope will be having her listening session on
Wednesday, 6 o'clock.
tomorrow. Tomorrow at 6 o'clock, I encourage people to attend.
Council President, just
Where?
Here.
quick reminder on, I was in the town manager report, but Saturday, April 4th, 9 a.m. we'll be hosting the next update meeting on the Beer Street Tip Project over at the Senior Center.
So at the Senior Center, April 4th, we'll
9
be
a.m.
holding at 9 a.m. a neighborhood discussion on the Revere Street Tip Project, which will be getting underway in earnest.
I don't see it on this, but the dedication.
April
Yeah.
30th,
March
30th.
30th.
And then April 1st, 2 of them, yeah.
You wanna read it?
Can you email?
Yeah, please.
Alright, to whom it may concern, this is from Phil Roden, the Veterans Service Officer. The town will be holding dedication and rededication next week on Monday, March 30th at 3:30 at Veterans Field. We will be dedicating the baseball diamond to former teacher, coach, athletic director, and U.S. Army veteran James Evans prior to opening day of Winthrop High School's baseball season. On Wednesday, April 1st at 3:30 at Ingleside Park Diamond, we will be rededicating the field in honor of former professional baseball player, U.S. Navy World War II veteran and Winthrop policeman Charles A. Charlie Domenico prior to the opening day of the Winthrop High School girls softball season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing that. Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Vice President Swope, second by Councilor Dimes, any discussion, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Ayes have it.